Hello, welcome to class. So today we're going to go over a basic watercolor assignment, which really means that I'm going to give you homework and then you guys can spend your afternoon trying it out. So what we're going to do now, this is really simple, but I think it's really important to understanding the fundamentals of watercolor, which is what we've been talking about over the last few weeks. We're going to get a nice fat brush. This is a synthetic brush. It is the Da Vinci Synthetics, and it really is synthetic-y. See how, it's just one big pile of plastic, really. But it's nice and big, and my other mop brush is upstairs, so I'm going to use this today. So what I want to do is take a nice big brush, and we're going to lay down a clear wash, which is just water. Okay, so see, there it is, clear wash. And of course, if we look at that on an angle, we'll see the exact shape of that clear wash. So we're going to do this a few times. The point is to see how the colors blend together. So I've done a clear wash. Now I want to just give it a quick second. And I want to make sure that that high gloss comes off and we end up with, see that? We want to see the texture of the paper just perfect. So what I'm going to do now is just drop my color in. My objective is to cover the entire page with drops. They can be lines, you can block it in, it doesn't matter. But I want to use all three colors. So I'm going to wash the brush, pick up the next color, and put that between this one. Now try not to add too much extra water if when you wash the brush you forget to dry it off. Let's just drop this in. Let's fill all these little spaces. Rinse my brush again. Grab some paper towel, just dry that off a little bit. Now let's grab my yellow, let's try a different yellow. This is really not yellow. That was supposed to be yellow, but it had a little bit of green in it. So this is Indian yellow. And let's come with that. Let's throw that between in some of these white spots. Okay, maybe down here. You can see that there's going to be a hard edge here because the paper has started to dry. Now I'm going to leave that alone. That's it. That's what we're going to do. Now I want you guys to do this multiple times, okay? Over and over and over. That's the first pile. Now on the edges, it's going to, because we have puddles, right? It's going to create little run backs. And they're going to look something like this. This would be a flare or a run back. Also known as a cauliflower, but it's just going to come from one section because there's a puddle. So if it was right in the middle, it would create more of a cauliflower, like a bloom. But from here, it's just going to create a bump. I'm going to leave that and we'll see what it looks like. Because depending on what you're doing, you could like it. And it's really important to know what it looks like when you try to mix the colors like this directly on your paper. So for our second part, let's grab some clean water. And this is a really big brush. The fact that it's a synthetic brush is different from a natural hair brush, and there are synthetic brushes that have a natural hair characteristics. But what happens with a synthetic brush is that it will drop its load of water the moment you touch the paper, whereas a natural brush made from hair, from animal hair, or one that's made to mimic that, will release the water slowly, so you won't end up with this big puddle. So keep in mind that this is all being done with a synthetic brush. Now, natural hair is obviously better in the sense that it's going to produce a more attractive picture, but there's a side effect that an animal's involved. And there are some really nice synthetic brushes that mimic natural brushes, which is something I need to research because I really need to start using them to get into that. So you do not have to go out and just buy sable or squirrel or anything like that. You can use synthetic. So this time I used a little less water. Let's see where that is. There it is. And I might need to give it a little second, but you know, I think it's okay. We're going to go ahead and mix it anyway. So we're going to do the same thing. Put in the colors. Start with whatever you want. Same three colors. which was Indian Yellow, Paris Blue, and May Green. Okay, now for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix. Now I'm going to clean my brush just a little bit. It doesn't necessarily matter, but I want to clean my brush off. And now I'm going to mix them. I'm just going to come through here and I'm going to mix a few of the yellows in with the blues, some of the here. Not everything. I want to mix maybe half the picture. Let's say like 50% or 60%. We just want to mix it in. Now what we're getting originally, and we'll see this a lot more in a moment. Now I called it a bloom over here. It can also be right here. These are also the fingers, and this is a much better example. Right here. The fingers where the paint goes out in all directions. It kind of looks like snowflakes. It's really, really beautiful. This is where, yeah, the fingers of the paint. So some of these places are going to have little finger marks, the bleed outs, and others are going to be blended because I've just mixed them together. I'm going to mix this too in there. Now I'm going to come back with a slightly dry brush and just lift off that bubble at the bottom. Okay, and for the third attempt here, I want to clean my brush, get some nice clean water, do it again. Let's go with a clear wash first, which just means straight water because this is wet and wet. Okay, if you think you've got too much water, just dry your brush a little bit and go back so you're actually lifting the water, not putting it down. Look at it on an angle, and you can see the texture really well, so that's fine. I lifted off with okay amount. Now let's do it again. Let's use the same three colors. Isn't it beautiful? This is what I mean. See this? This is the fingers. If I just left that like that, if I just left that there and allowed it to dry, it would have these beautiful snowflake-like effects, which you can totally do. But for the sake of this, we're going to put the colors on. Let's do it thicker. This is not strong enough. Okay. There we really see it. Isn't that pretty? Now I'm trying to keep my colors kind of pure, which is why I'm cleaning my brush between. I come in with the May Green, fill in some of these gaps. And let's come back with the Indian Yellow. It's not really a nice name, isn't it? I don't think that's politically correct. We should change it. The very orangey, warm yellow color, previously known as Indian Yellow. And this is a Schminky colors I'm using today. Okay, so here I've got the same three colors and they're mixed in. Now I want to take my brush and mix them. And I'm going to mix them 100%. But I don't want to just mix into one big gooey mess. So, if that makes sense. So I'm not like, okay, up here I'll mix it like this in one big gooey mess. So this is just mixing on the page. Now on the bottom, I'm going to mix it maybe in different directions. I'm going to mix the green into the blue into the green. We'll leave a little bit of difference in the middle. I'm going to add a little more color here. What's the point? Why is this important? Because we've allowed the colors to go together but not actually mix. This would be great if you had different colors. They're all going to have soft edges. If you had different colors in a field, for example, where the colors, you know, some flowers, some green, some blue, all these different colors in the field is really beautiful. Here, maybe this is more like a sunset if they weren't actual dots, but instead they were streaks, for example. It could be like a sunset of the reds and the blues and how you'd mix those two colors. Whereas this one would make a really good for example, grass or a hill or different shades on a leaf. A leaf, this might look like a fall leaf, but this might look more like a summer leaf or a spring leaf. It still has, because the paint is pulling apart, it still has differences. There's a little bit of yellow, there's a little bit of blue, but because we've come across and mixed it in, or up here you can see it's really well mixed in our complete 100%, we've mixed this on the paper. We're going to have a different and more interesting effect than if we were to just come over here and mix it straight. Mix all three colors, right? Until they're completely mixed, especially if it was a red, yellow, and blue, with the red, not the green, we would end up with a pure brown. Grab some paper and get three colors, a nice big fat brush, lay down your water first, your clear wash, and then come in and drop in your colors. And do this multiple times. Do this over and over. See how it interacts. Now, can we see this? I've been talking so long, which is a good thing. See how the bloom is starting. This hard edge here and over here is because these two spots were drying slower than everything else. And so that water, the puddle of water as it pulled back, is creating a bloom. That is also something you want to practice. You want to see what happens what it looks like when that happens, because there will be times when you don't want it and times where maybe you do want it. Here we have a little bit. Down here, not so much. Remember, I came along and I pulled that out and just did one little, one draw across with a thirsty brush, which means a brush that has been dried off a little bit. And here I have no run backs at all, no cauliflowers, whereas here I do, these little fingery guys up here.